Okay, so Tim Occleshaw, can you name one lesson or idea from abroad that's helped you or your colleagues?
Yeah, I think I'm going to refer back to the comment that I mentioned earlier from a senior British civil servant, which is that the civil service has a very powerful immune system and it's quite good at isolating disruptors. Hopefully, not too much of a misquote. That was possibly the genesis of our approach, which is centrally led and collaboratively delivered. The genesis of our network leadership model, the thing we call digital government partnership. It's something that's been incredibly powerful for us. Having us being on the field of play with the agencies rather than on the sidelines, shouting instructions or being a referee of some sort, actually being on the field of play, working closely with them, getting that skin in the game, having chief executives and many other senior people from across the system involved in co-designing settings and standards and architecture and strategy and so on. So I think that's probably been one of the key lessons that, being in the game with the agencies instead of being a central, a central agency or organisation that's trying to control.
Yeah, thank you. And are there any projects or innovations from New Zealand that might be valuable to your peers overseas?
Well, I think one of those is definitely the network governance model. As I say, it includes other agencies in setting our digital agenda, and it's been incredibly powerful for us. And it really builds the skin in the game. The other one is probably our digital marketplace. It certainly has generated a lot of attention when I've talked about it internationally over the course of this year. So we've just implemented it a couple of months ago. It's a reimagined government digital or ICT procurement. Excuse me. It's an end-to-end digital channel that goes right from registration and signing up to a very standardised set of terms and conditions. Dealing with government as one customer, and it goes right through to fulfilment and all the analytics and reporting that go with that. So the whole thing is digital end to end. Within the first couple of weeks, we had more than 30 agencies sign up to be customers and part of it, and we had more than 30 suppliers just in a couple of weeks, and it's now growing, like Topsy. So it's been very successful. It hugely simplifies the process. It allows agencies to meet the rules of procurement, which are grounded in our free trade agreements with competitiveness and all that sort of stuff. And it reduces the friction, immensely. So it's been very successful for us.
Thanks. How do you think we can improve the ways in which senior officials work with and learn from their colleagues overseas? I suppose especially around your field, digital public services.
Yeah. We already, we have networks like our D9, formerly D5 and D7, in which we get together and we, kind of share our experiences in terms of the things that have worked and also, very importantly, the things that haven't, and our approaches to governance and those sorts of things. We have various other fora that are useful. OECD e-leaders is a great opportunity for us all to get together and talk about these things. Conferences. So that stuff is good. We have, between New Zealand and the UK, we have a digital government exchange, which is 5 or 6 young future leaders, and we send them to the UK for a couple of months, and UK send theirs to us for a couple of months. And it's a structured program that sees them working across multiple agencies and bringing back experiences. And these are our future leaders, and it's all focused on digital, of course. But maybe the biggest thing is what I think others have previously described as kind of working out loud or working out in the open. So, so sharing the stuff we're working on and how we're working on them, sharing designs, sharing code, sharing how we fund, how we govern, those sorts of stories, and doing that as openly as we can. One of the great things, shifting from private sector to public for me was that, we're non-competitive. And if we can actually get together and share these stories, we're all going to be able to move faster towards a better digital planet.
Thank you. I know it's a big question, but what are the sort of biggest global challenges in your field over the next few years?
Governments are complex. Our authorising environment is it's very different to a private sector authorising environment. There are many stakeholders, and they're all important. So I think one of the biggest challenges is just keeping up with the pace of innovation and change. And I don't really mean from a tech perspective. I mean, keeping up with that can be challenging for all of us, but I don't think it's the biggest problem. I think breaking free of legacy thinking, and I talked about that earlier, but breaking free back and create flexible and agile, policies and settings and governance and funding models that can encourage innovation, whilst being mindful of the human aspect, protecting people's rights. And as I say, the government is held to a higher standard than private sector in that space. So keeping up with that in a way that fosters innovation and promotes our digital economy, but keeps the government policy social aspects at the forefront. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Thanks. And finally, what's your favourite book?
That's a tough question. I read very widely, and non-fiction and fiction, and I don't think I could pick a favourite. At the moment, I'm reading a book called Forbidden Archaeology by Michael Cremo. It's not necessarily a particularly easy read, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a very thoroughly researched exploration of kind of modern archaeology, and some of the thinking in that may be holding our understanding back. And it's exploring emergent theory that civilization may go back way further than we think. So I'm finding that very interesting, and enjoying it at the moment.
Thank you. Good tip. And thank you very much indeed for your answers there.
My pleasure.